nice wind just appeared as soon as I started recording here. So today we are doing our fourth class in the second series of co-evolving with plants and earth. And so I was trying to think of a plant that is somewhat easy to identify, and that also is abundant in New England. So another plant that we can feel good and responsible about harvesting. So today we are harvesting red raspberry. Here she is. And I'll get some better close-ups later. But you can kind of see, I'll zoom in later. This way to identify it, there's this like crimson colored stem. That's really beautiful color. And the stem is also hairy, like spiky hairy. And the leaves, so usually this is what one of the branchlets will look like. So there's the three here, there's one in the middle, and then there's the two opposing, and then there's a couple more opposing right after that. So they mirror each other here, and then there's the three here. And yeah, make sure, of course, that that you're not near any poison ivy when you're harvesting. I sat here for a minute just checking it out to make sure there was no poison ivy as well around here, because it will grow at times in similar places. It's also something that a lot of people cultivate in their backyard, so you might have that. You might want to work with that. I found it kind of interesting too where I am today. I'm at my new house, my new place where I'm staying, and I was looking for something that's abundant here, that's easy to access, and I found all this raspberry just right off this main trail here. So it's really interesting because it's it's like marking the boundaries of the different parts of the land. The raspberries like all growing through this area here. And just the other side of here is a big open field, it's a farming field, and the same on the other side. There's a trail right behind me. I don't know, and I was just thinking about, I've been sitting here with the plant and thinking about, how there is a stone wall on the other side of here, and not so much on where I am with the raspberry, but just thinking about like boundaries, I guess, and the ways in which perhaps humans create boundaries, and the plants can support those. So most people don't want to run through a thicket of raspberry bushes, right? Because they'll get pickers and stuff on them. And so I'm in here with the pickers. It's not really that bad. And just being thoughtful and being a little more cautious and careful with this. And then we're just gonna spend some time too, just like thinking and being and feeling what it is to be in that place. Of having a different level of awareness with this plant, and how we're sitting with it, that potential to get picked, as well as when we harvest it. So just, take some time this class to sit with those ideas and experience, what the potential energetic offerings are of this raspberry. So I feel like we've kind of gone over, the different ways of sitting with plants and holding them, and choosing to do Reiki or not, choosing to just hold presence and gratitude. Maybe noticing, like, once I'm sitting here, I just see all of the raspberry kind of fluttering in the wind around me. There's this lightness that they carry. Also, so raspberry, it has on the back side it's very white, like black raspberry. In blackberries, they don't have that white underside, and we'll talk more about like what specifically that tells you, and the energetic signature, the doctrine of signatures with the plants. We'll talk about that more when we're meeting up, about what specifically this plant might be showing us. But just, like taking time to like sit with all the colors you see, all the textures, of the plant and the stem, and the root. So I'm gonna harvest some root now, and I'll pause this and we'll show you how to do that. All right, so I'm gonna start over here with this plant. There's a little bit more space, and I'm giving myself a little bit of a challenge because there's a lot of rocks around here. So we'll see if we can move any, but it will be a little more challenging than just harvesting something that was growing in your backyard. And I'm going to put on some gloves. It's going to be a little picky, so it's a good idea to have some gloves. And I have my shovel. This is the one I'm going for. And so, these leaves obviously are dying. So you want preferably the plants that are in this kind of shape, so that the energy is now back into the roots. Put this over. And feel free, if you find some green leaves, to harvest some leaves. You could try working with those too. So right now, just feeling into this root system and visualizing it, how it's all connecting everything around me. and honoring this medicine. And asking permission to harvest some of her roots. I'm just feeling into seeing if I receive a yes or a no from this plant. And perhaps telling her what my purpose is with her medicine. Try this. So these roots are not as deep as the dandelion. It's more like runners that are connecting everything. It's going to be tricky. By stones. So it's kind of hard for me to get down very far. These rocks around us. So here are some of the roots that I have. They kind of have this like orangey color. Like once I remove the dirt. Yeah, there you go. You can see them a little better. Alright. And this, I'll try over here, a little more space. So it's kind of hard. I can't quite show it so well. But as you're pulling it up, I'm sure that some of you have had this kind of experience with pulling out any kind of roots. So you'll feel it, and there's how these roots here so how close they run to each other from the surface, and that's how they're all spreading. That's how they grow in like these communities. So there's all these runners that are coming out kind of shallow, spreading all around here. It's kind of like mycelium. Grab some more. So once I wash this off and dry it off, I could use these little tiny pieces too. You're welcome to do that. And so we'll do the same thing where we cut it up. I'm gonna put all my stuff right here. And so, you know, I'm gonna break this off and just leave this behind, the parts that I'm not going to use, to add mulch back to the earth here. Maybe I will give these young ones right back to the soil from which they came. So I just want to cover this all up. Try to leave as little trace as possible. And honoring this land. All the creatures that I share this land with. Lush, beautiful soil, the softness of it, and the comforting that it provides for me, for all the plants and all the animals. So I feel like, you know, there's so much right here. There's an abundance, really, of this plant. So I could take, you know, go to a few different plants to harvest a good amount, and feel good about it. But, you know, if you're just taking one plant for one class, like, that's enough. Especially if you're just you're just using something in your backyard. But yeah, I encourage trying to find some wild plants. Just make sure you know that the roots that you're pulling out are directly related to this plant, so that you're not, taking some other poisonous plant or whatever. But yeah, I'll show you again. Now I'll just film a little bit of close-ups of the plant so we can look at it a little bit better. And yeah, I think we all have some kinds of nostalgia of our own with berries and that we've had since we were children. So just take some time to sit with that, to sit with your memories, to sit with all the benefits that you've had with these plants, and just allowing yourself to open and receive whatever you need to receive today. And yeah, I'm excited about this warm weather, and I hope you guys can get out this weekend to enjoy doing a sit while we have some warm weather left. And and then I'm also excited about gearing up with lots of gear and going out in the snow with you all this winter. So I hope everyone is well and staying as grounded and centered and as hopeful as you can at this time. If you want, you might want to use this opportunity to even, further try to create some prayers for what you're wanting to create in the world, putting those back into the land from which you're taking. So enjoy your days, and looking forward to sitting with the spirit of this plant together and drinking her. So same thing as we did with the dandelion, just chopping it up after washing it and drying it out on the lowest setting in the oven, and and then we'll simmer it and sit with it as tea. Yes, all right. All right, thank you, and thank you to all of this land and the sun and the wind and all the animals that are here with me today. All right, bye. So here's a little close-up of my friend here. These are some leaves that are still looking pretty good. Let's see the pattern here. There's the 3 in the front, the 2 behind it. Whoa. And the underside, it's hard to see. The underside is pretty white. It's like a light green, but it's much whiter than the alternate side. There you are. And that beautiful purple color. Zooming in here. And I'll show you another bigger one too. So here is some cultivated raspberry. You see the stem is much thicker. There's a bunch of it here. And then over here, sometimes the stem, I've only really noticed that with the cultivated kind, like the thorns are a little bigger on this one, and there's like this white dusting. It's like a bluish white color. So it's still that crimson color underneath, but there's like this bright color on top. Yeah, whoops. So I still have that light color underneath. That's the geese yelling. And there's the top of the leaf. Yeah.